Welcome back to the Give a Shit podcast, where we talk about and delve into people's minds and how they really feel, and to really understand their why. Today, I've got a guest, Paul Rhodes. Paul, welcome.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
No problem at all. Do you want to just introduce yourself, what you do on a daily basis, just so the guests can get a feel for you as a person?
Yeah, sure. I'm Paul, and I run Green Gorilla Apps. So we're a software development company. We're quite a small team. I'd say boutique. So I've got a team of developers, project managers, an admin, and then I basically do everything else in the business. So everything else falls to me. That's pretty much, we build bespoke software across the UK. We've got software that we've developed is largely enterprise, so it runs in like universities, NHS.
Nice.
It's the larger scale stuff, like the more complex stuff.
Yeah.
And we've been going for 14 years.
Oh, well done.
And we're based 40 minutes from here, not 20 minutes. I found out this morning.
You got it. Love it.
So yeah, that's probably me in a nutshell.
And what is the why, Paul?
Yeah, I've been thinking about this a lot after being invited on. I was like, I wish I had like a deep, clarity answer.
Okay.
But I think it started out of I became a developer through university and then worked for 10 years. And then the reason I just started my own business was my family.
Okay.
Just in terms of work-life balance was my why. Like I literally never wanted to miss a sports day.
Okay.
Never wanted to miss a school run. I wanted to be like present at all times if I could. So I decided to start a business, which is probably the opposite of that.
And so, when you say that, like, you wanted to be at sports,
Yeah.
to do all of them things
Yeah.
that, I suppose running your own show
Yes.
can do. And have you embedded that in the culture of
Yeah,
the business?
100%. Yeah.
So, like, somebody wants to go and see the kids play at Christmas.
Yeah. So
It's not an issue.
No, not at all. So there's a few things we've done along their trajectory, I guess. So if I'm totally honest, I've set it up as a lifestyle business.
Okay.
Obviously, profit is incredibly important.
Of course.
But I've never put people over profit ever. So, for instance, some of the things we do is we operate a 35-hour week. Okay. It's completely flexible.
Yeah.
So it's not a 4-day week, it's a 35-hour week. So the individuals can determine when they choose to work, if that makes sense.
Yes, cool.
There's no mandated, you have to be here at these specific times. And along the journey of different people we've employed, you realise that actually in a certain lifestyle, that's massive when you raise kids. So pretty much most of the people have got young families, and it's exactly that. They all go and do the school run. They all go to the children's plays. They all go to sports events and stuff. And my kids are 15 and 17 now, so I have to relook at my purpose and go, it's not really about the school runs anymore. So I'm kind of redefining my why all the time.
Okay.
But for them, their kids are reception age. They're like year 1, year 2. So it's that amazing age where you go to the afternoon.
And you want to be there.
And you want to be there. So I just, even though it's my business, I always have expected that I'll treat people fairly. And in return, I want that fairness back with me. I don't want people taking the proverbial. So it's kind of like it's a mutual respect.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like we do have 35 hours. And I've always said as well, I'm not interested in 35 hours on a timesheet. I want 35 hours of productive quality work.
Yeah.
And I know what I'm like in an afternoon. I'm not particularly on fire in the morning, but I know what I'm like in an afternoon. So I've traditionally clocked off around school run.
Okay.
So I'll do the school run, and that'll be my lunchtime.
Yeah.
And then I'll have the last few hours of the day with the kids before they get into clubs and stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was always about I want 35 hours of quality work from, and when I'm saying quality, I want their input, their innovations and stuff, not just me dictating everything.
Yeah.
So like full accountability and ownership for the roles. And in return, we're flexible. Like I say, 4-day week. There's a lot of businesses who do that and they mandate 8 a.m. till 6 p.m.
Yeah.
And what we do, having Friday off for some people doesn't make any sense. They don't have kids and they don't want to work, or they want a long weekend. So I've got some individuals who never work on a Friday, and I've got some who do like half an hour on a Friday.
And so are they entitled to do 15-hour days if they want to do that?
Yeah, you could do. Yeah, totally. I mean, I'd question the productivity, but sometimes you do get in the zone, don't you?
Yeah.
You do get into deep work. And where I thrive, or have traditionally thrived, probably not so much lately, but is late nights. Like, you know, that period of when the house is quiet and there's no meetings. There's no, like, as a business owner, it's constant interruptions.
And I'm on the early.
Oh, yeah. I've never been a morning person.
I'm the 4 or 5 o'clock.
Oh, wow. Well, there you go. But that's your productivity time.
Yeah.
So for me, it was really understanding that the craziness of, like, why do we work 9 to 5? Why does that exist?
Yeah.
And really question it. And the other thing we did is when I started the business, we were in Bromsgrove.
Okay.
And we had like a unit for sort of like, it would probably fit 20 people. Classic thing of car parking spaces for 3.
Okay, fair.
And we actually struggled to hire because we weren't necessarily on a public transport route. We were in a 6-year lease and all these sorts of things that I'd not considered because I had a car.
Yeah.
And then one fateful day, we hired somebody. They accepted the job. I was really excited. They'd done like a week's trial. And then they declined the job at the final, you know, on the start day, basically, because of the transport conditions.
Right.
So I was like, okay. So actually where we are is a barrier. And we went remote.
Did you?
So we've been remote since 2015.
Okay.
So our latest hire lives in Liverpool.
Right.
So I don't see location as a barrier. Like, the way we work with all of our clients is remote. I am the one who typically has the face-to-face relationship and builds the bonding and rapport and everything else.
Yeah.
But the execution, the delivery of the project is all over Teams and everything else. And there's pros and cons to that.
I was going to say, I'd absolutely, not personally,
Yeah.
I'd absolutely hate that. Because I've got to be, I want to see the white in people's eyes.
Yeah.
You know, I love that, that interaction. I don't think you can beat.
Yes.
But obviously we're maybe a bit more personal. You know, you're building tech, aren't you?
Yeah.
We're laying people's floors.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
I mean, I don't think you could do that. Like,
it's totally impossible, yeah.
But I think it's that. It's like, and then what you do as well is you hire people. It's all about culture, like you said. So if you know that the company, the way we operate is remotely, we've also made hires along the way where they've lasted a year and they've gone because they wanted the beers after work. They wanted that. Whereas we suddenly found that we had like a bit of a niche of, actually, if there's a certain person with a certain demographic, certain family setup, it works brilliantly. Like, I don't think you can work easily remotely if you don't have a desk.
Yeah.
And yet there were people, you know, during COVID who were like in shared,
you know,
everyone's at the breakfast bar, and how productive is that?
Yeah.
So I think you need an environment at home.
So do you supply them with a setup?
Yeah, we do that. Yeah. Like I was looking downstairs. It's an amazing setup we've got here.
Yeah.
And I was just looking like, I was thinking monitors are too small. But it's that, isn't it? If they come to an office, they get a desk, they get a chair. So we do exactly the same thing. They pick their own chair, they pick the desk. Everyone's got standing desks.
Yeah.
And
Is
I
there
also
a budget for that? Is there a budget, you know, of like?
Well,
you know,
I think I actually don't set a budget.
Okay.
They kind of come to me
and say this is.
and it's always under what I imagine in my head, so I tick it off, if that makes sense. I think people are reasonable. They know they don't want to.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's all good quality stuff.
They don't want to take the piss. But
No, you're exactly right. Yeah, exactly. Like, I've never been in an uncomfortable situation where someone's presented me with like a $5,000 chair,
10 grand monitor.
Yeah.
Is this any good?
Yeah. So yeah, we all work on Macs. We all have dual monitor setups. The other thing I've always said as well is, to me, remote doesn't mean home working. Remote means you should be productive and you should be capable to work wherever you are.
Yeah.
So we've had people work from Brazil. We've had people work from Italy, like people who are UK employees who've gone, I've got family in Brazil. I'd like to go there for 3 months. Can I work?
Yeah, I love that.
And they've literally worked abroad. And then we've had conversations like, I mean, one thing I always wanted to do, and my wife will kill me for saying this, but I was like, why don't we go abroad for, say, the month of August? She's a teacher.
Yeah.
And, you know, we'll have 2 weeks holiday, but for 2 weeks, I'll just work there. And you can have like a month in the sun sort of thing in a villa. And that's not appealing to her because she's like, no, if we're there, I want to spend the time with you. I don't want to go off.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Get it.
I don't want to go off with the kids and deal with that.
Definitely.
So it's like, but those are the possibilities. So we've had people go to Italy, Brazil. My current project manager, Erin, who's amazing. I've got to say, she's amazing.
Okay.
She's Australian, so she's going to Australia and taking her her boyfriend's family and stuff over Christmas, and now just switch off. So she's not expected to work. But I've said to her, you know, if you went for a prolonged period of time again and you wanted to like work, you can. Yes. Like you literally.
It's a nice place to be. That.
Yeah, you can do most of our job with a phone. You can do a lot with a laptop.
Yeah, great.
So yeah, it's portable, isn't it?
Yeah. So let's just start at the beginning.
Okay.
Like the journey.
Are you sure you want to go?
Take us back to them, you know, the early days. What was it like, you know, growing up? Where did you grow up?
Oh, okay. You mean the early days?
Early days, you know. Like,
yeah.
What I want to understand who you are. I want to understand how you tick.
Okay.
You know. So.
Yeah, I mean, I was born and bred in Redditch, and I still live in Redditch.
Okay.
Says a lot. Says a lot, doesn't it?
Made his way to Rhodes Grove.
Yeah, I mean, Droitwich was a bit of a trek. So yeah, I think that's a really good question. I mean, I was probably preceded with a warning. When everyone ever asked me that question, I tend to talk for England, so you will. But I don't mind if you say skip on, move on.
That's okay.
Yeah, long story short, yeah, I'm Redditch born and bred, and you know, school was just I wouldn't say I was academic. I got by, but I wasn't academic, and I wasn't sporty as the video shows. My son's totally opposite. My son's really physical. He's like really good.
Okay.
Quite proud moments.
So
and he's not like me. Yeah, he's nothing like me. I keep saying him, don't stop, don't turn into this. But yeah, I think the only thing that defined growing up was music. Okay. I was massively into music.
You?
Yeah.
Did you have a band and that sort of stuff?
Yeah, I was in bands from about 12.
Oh, good for you.
Did
you play down the Black in Bromsgrove?
Yeah, I played the Black Cross. We played Birmingham a lot and stuff. And yeah, wicked. I was in bands, like that was it. So like I picked up a guitar at the age of 10. I remember going to Worcester, to Music City, to buy it.
So did you think you were going to be a musician? Was that the dream?
No, I mean, I'd still, if you asked me now, my scripts in my head would say I'm not a guitarist. But then I've probably played in like, I don't know, 10 bands for like 20 years sort of things.
So when we get you back next time, if I'd have known that, you could have bought the guitar.
Oh, well, you don't want that. But yeah, I mean, I say I'm a musician. I was always in punk bands. So I literally know 4 chords, but I know how to jump.
Brilliant.
So yeah, so music was massive.
Yeah.
And the reason I say that is I think there's one trend that I've always harnessed onto is like this whole, and it's weird in business, but it's so true of an entrepreneur, it's the DIY ethic. Okay. It's this literal idea that if you want to make something happen, you can. So like, I was in a band. My first real band was called Gobshite, right. and you know, it was this thing of like you go to this random gig in Birmingham, and you meet these other bands and you get talking to them, and it's not too dissimilar to business. You meet random people and you have a nice conversation, and then you go, well, how do you do it? And they go, oh, we. This is pre-MySpace. I mean, this was like 90s. And it was like, oh, we do this, and then you do what they've told you, and you go and book more gigs. So we only did a few catastrophic gigs with that one.
And was it mum and dad that influence?
No,
punk?
Not really. No, I kind of
just your pals at school. Or?
I think it was. Well, I was before punk. I was really into heavy metal.
Okay.
I was my first kind of
Slipknot
before that. I say heavy metal. I mean, I was into bands like Guns N' Roses and Metallica and like. Yeah, we went to LA as a kid when the Metallica Black Album came out. Yeah. That was like the best thing I'd ever, just going around Los Angeles and like going to guitar shops and it was all Metallica and Sepultura and everything. It was amazing. Yeah. So yeah, all my friends were, I mean, my daughter said to me yesterday, we went to a uni open day yesterday and she was like, what did you wear, Dad? And I was like, do you really want to know? And she was like, yeah. And I was like, ripped jeans, para boots, black and white lumberjack shirt and a black t-shirt.
Love it.
And I was like, that was pretty much me.
That was it. That was the dress code, yeah?
The one thing that I could never do was grow long hair.
Okay.
My hair goes vertically up, like, so it was just all my friends had the classic, they looked like they were Pearl Jam, if that makes sense, like they looked like Eddie Vedder. And I just looked like some freaky Weird Al kind of guy. Yeah, with some like, you know, when everyone had curtains.
Is it all right?
When everyone had curtains, mine kind of went up. Very curly, very fuzzy hair. So I dyed it pink actually after the Wild Arts, after CJ and the Wild Arts. I went to school one day with bright pink hair.
So what sparked that interest in technology and business?
Yeah, I like the way you moved on there. That's really good. So anyway, long story short, music's been massive. I went to uni to study the only course I could find that was multimedia, and it had a music element to it.
Right.
And that's what I decided. So my script again says I'm lazy, don't get a job sort of thing. So I went to uni. I got in bands at uni, and I went and did that. And it was actually I had no interest in computing. I was probably the only person on the course who hadn't built a computer. That sort of level of thing. The other criteria is it was the only course I found that you didn't have to have maths. Says a lot about that'll do. That's the only course. It's more pictures than maths. So I did that. So that's the answer is I went and did a university degree. It's 4 years. I did a placement year in Manchester and got into bands in Manchester. Awesome. That one was called Warp Spasm. Yeah. It was incredible. Awesome place, yeah. So I actually was in uni in Huddersfield. And again, just using, it's so weird now, but there was basic websites of find band members, and I found this guy, and he was called what was his name? He had a really cool name. Anyway, he worked in Affleck's Palace in Manchester. I found him online, and it's just this weird thing of I'd get on a train, middle of the night in Piccadilly, and meet this bloke, and we went to a band rehearsal.
Random.
And it was just, my mum was going mental in it. It's just don't tell her. But yeah, so it was all music. And then I did the computing degree. And actually, that was probably the first time I'd ever coded. It was coding and 3D at the time.
Was there anything that influenced that path, for you to go and do that?
Well, what I was doing at home, was I was recording music videos for bands.
Okay.
And this course, one of the things on the and they didn't even go to an open day. I was just I'd go on that. I went to Bradford. Nothing against Bradford, but I was I'm not going there. Okay. My mate was at Bradford, and he was massively into rugby and stuff. I was not for me. So I go to Huddersfield. Never visited. And yeah, there was just on the
4 years there.
Did 4 years, yeah. And I came out, and then I was like, what do you do? And I'd got together with my wife. So me and my wife been together since 97, which is a long time. In a good way, Nicky, sorry. in reflection, yeah. Happy wife, happy life. And I've lost my thread, but you finish uni, and I was like, what do I do? So I just came back to Reddit, and I've been here ever since. So the only time I've lived anywhere else is I lived in Manchester for 3 years, I lived in Huddersfield for 3 years.
And was there a person of significant influence
in becoming a business?
In actually becoming a businessman?
Yeah, but I won't name them because it was probably in the wrong way. So in that journey, I came back to Redditch, and I worked in Birmingham for a few different multimedia companies.
Okay.
So I actually graduated learning how to build CD-ROMs.
Okay.
That was the technology that then disappeared within 2 years of graduating. And I became a Flash games developer, so I did games. Flash got killed off as well.
Yeah.
Then I ended up doing some Microsoft technology. I didn't like that at all. And then I found PHP. So for about 10 years, I was PHP developer at actually 2 different family-owned businesses over the period. Oh. And what happened with me was, I think it's not. There's a lot of developers out there who are amazing what they do, but they struggle with the communication. Yeah. I was finding I was getting asked into meetings. So I went quite quickly from being junior developer to basically development manager or the head of the development teams in both companies. Okay. And my role became HR. It became nothing about dev. Yeah. And so twice I'd got ascended to management. And one job they offered to put me on an MBA. Is it an MBA? Is it MBA? MBA? Yeah, I don't know what the word is even. But a Master of Business. Okay. And I left because they offered me that. Because I was I had this desire that I just wanted to code. Yeah. I didn't want to do all this management stuff.
Do you think that in your industry is pretty
common? Well, the best way to ruin a technician is make them a manager.
Yeah.
I've realised, it's took me a long time, but some of the people I employ, not some of the people, the developers, they just want to be the best developer they can be. And it's a kind of, it's a weird thing that we do in business is we go, you're an amazing developer or an amazing technician.
Yeah.
Let's make you a manager. And it's just weird. Yeah. It's like, why do we do that? Why do we ruin people when they just want to become, they want to sharpen the sword, don't they, on that skill? Some people do want to, it's always have the conversation, but don't force it. And in both of my experiences, I basically was responsible for recruiting developers, managing their progression. And that's why I say it was like HR.
Yeah.
And a lot of stuff I didn't have control over. And then a pivotal thing, and this is where it's kind of like, where did it all change? Is I was employed until 2009 when I set up my first business, and my employee paid for me to go to Boston to a conference. Nice. So I think 3 of us went, and to me that was the game changer. We went and saw what I would call rock star developers on stage at a conference. I've never been to. I mean, the fact it was in America made it even more like, oh. Yeah. And they just, one by one, these speakers stood on this stage and kind of gone, in a non-salesy way, have you got this problem? This is how we solved it. And it was like, oh my days, that's exactly where we were. We were scaling. We were only a team of 12 developers, but we were scaling. And yeah, I came away like with this thing that I get a lot in business now, which is like full of ideas. Yeah. This is what we're going to do. And then when we came back to the UK, just met a load of resistance, just like, not in my effing business sort of thing. And so I'd heard it in one ear. Okay. And so I developed this kind of, I don't want to say mantra, but this thing in my head of there's always another way. Yeah. There's another way to look at everything. And that's what we do. So true. That's what I've done for like 20 years now is it just, okay, even though I didn't maybe adopt it there and then, that thing was still.
And do you think that was down to like people just being so closed off?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like that literally, no, this is the way that we've done it. This is the way we'll always do it.
And it was the classic thing of my way or the highway. Yeah. So what happened was at the same time, so in that business actually, it's worth saying like we only did a certain technology, and we were really good at it. One of their clients approached me and said, would you help me build this other technology? I was like, I'm not going to do that to them. I'll ask them. And they were like, yeah, you can go and do it. It's not what we do. And that basically launched my first business. Okay. We did, I did basically like projects for the oil industry. So we built out campaigns for Castrol, Shell, loads of different ones. Boys. Yeah, and I ended up, bizarrely, building touchscreens that I went and installed across Germany. So one project was I literally, me on my own, with a load of touchscreens and a boot, driving across Dusseldorf and everywhere else and Frankfurt, across Germany, and installing these touchscreens in the equivalent of like a Halfords. Oh, okay. And it was just, how have I got here? Do you know what I mean? What has gone on to get here? But I think it's that thing of, you've got to be open to opportunity, and you've got to have that DIY ethic.
Was that the first entrepreneurial moment?
Yeah, I had a business. Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, I think I got to such a level of I think people change when they're in massive pain, and I was in a lot of pain in that role.
So how old were you then?
29, something like that.
So 29.
You're late 20s. My son had just been born.
So that's it's a massive jump, isn't it? And what I'm trying to stress is that like people don't jump because they have a secure job.
Correct.
They have the kids.
Yeah.
And they don't go and actively pursue their dreams.
I did it. Yeah, I did think you shouldn't. Like, there's no such thing as perfect time. But my son was a month old, or he was due in a month. He was due in a month. Yeah. We were in a 2-bed. My daughter was in her room. My son was going to be in our room for whatever, and then go in there. Yeah. At the moment I launched my business, my wife was off with maternity. I was the sole breadwinner. Scary. I couldn't work in where my desk had been, because it was literally my daughter's bed, and then at the other end was my desk. Okay. That's where the cot had to go. Yeah. So it was like, if you talked about people try and find the right time to do stuff. I don't believe there's ever a right time. No, I agree. Never. Nothing will ever align.
What do you think made you take that plunge though? Was
It was the
change?
pain. It was yeah. I think it was. I was in a lot of pain in terms of in the role I was in, and there's loads of stuff like I don't need to go into there, but like it was like work. It was work-life balance. I was working all hours, killing myself, and then I had an honest conversation with my wife, and I don't remember this particular one, but she must have said yes, do it. So I did it, and I think that drove me on. In a way, like you say, so you've got all these things that you've got to provide for.
Yeah.
It's not an option, is it? Like it was, and it's quite funny. I'm going to say the word failure wasn't an option. I failed in that business, and we could talk about that. I failed massively.
Okay.
But yeah, what happened was I didn't have a place to work. So I literally ended up working. My first ever business was in the bedroom of my wife's parents' house. So I was literally sat in her bedroom that she grew up in with a desk and a Skype phone. And that's how I started.
That must have been like a real pinchy moment though, of like, this is now my own show. I get to make my own rules.
Yeah.
I get to set my own standards.
I don't think I had any of that level of clarity though.
Yeah.
I think I was just chasing the projects. Like it's that thing of like...
Just chasing the next job.
Everyone who starts a business, what do? You say yes to everything, don't you? I mean, everyone who's green. I wouldn't do it. If I started tomorrow, I wouldn't do that. But that's what everyone does. Is like I just chased.
Because you don't know where the next job's coming from.
No, exactly. And I didn't even. I think the one it formed the foundation of the failure really. But the one thing I remember sitting in the office when I was employed, and thinking, when you get in a really dark place and you're like, well, you don't do anything, and you don't do anything, and then like this horrible ego of. This business won't be anything without my team.
Yeah.
And then you start your own business and you don't know what an invoice is. And you don't know anything about diary management and you don't know how to talk to people and you don't know what a value proposition is.
Yeah.
So like this arrogance really that drove me to do it of, I can do this.
Yeah.
Actually ended up being the demise of my first business because I ain't got a Scooby about anything.
But that's okay, isn't it? And they're lessons.
Yeah, well, that's the thing is you have to learn, don't you? Yeah. So like the quick short story of that business, if you want to know, is so I scoured it too fast with no foundations. So what happened was my big driver was to find a project and work on a project, and I did a lot of it in the early days with freelancers, and I found this repeating problem of. I'd worked with somebody I either knew previously or trusted, and they do a brilliant project and we deliver it and everyone's happy. And then they wouldn't be available, so they'd recommend somebody. The next person might be really good or might be really unreliable. Yeah. And so then it's like I had this horrible thing of I'm accountable for the output and all this sort of stuff. So what I ended up doing is I went from my bedroom with zero. I started the business with no money, didn't put anything in. So I was zero in I think it was £1 on Company's House, the classic thing. Yeah. And by the end of year one, I had that 6-year lease and had like a really large office space. Right. I think I had 10 members of staff. Right. So we scoured really quickly.
How was your ego at that point?
Even worse, I think, because I thought, I remember thinking to myself at one point in that journey, this is easy.
Yeah.
This is easy, yeah. Yeah, and then I learned I have this thing in my head often now, which is whatever I do today is going to kick me in the ass 3 months down the line. Yeah. It's not immediate, just saying yes today, the pain won't be today. Yeah. The pain will be in 3 months when it's all rolled out. Yeah. So we were doing a lot, we were hiring, it was all self-funded. But I had no idea of cash flow. I didn't really understand cash flow. Yeah. I was the classic business owner who would go to the accountants and he would go, "Congratulations, you've made a profit on your P&L," and then would say, "Well, where is it then?
Where's the cash?"
Like that was literally my education. I had no idea about the payment terms, about contracts, about anything. And we I think my background, like I've mentioned, like oil companies and what we sort of do today, but. We've always worked on like large scale systems. Even as a young developer, I was working on like quite large household name brands. Okay. And what killed the business, it wasn't down to this corporate, it was down to me. I take full responsibility. But we worked on a project that was massive and didn't understand payment terms, didn't understand X, Y, Z, all these overheads, no real reserves, nothing to show. It was like every month everyone was getting paid,
Yeah.
and every month
Zero.
I was happy,
Yeah.
and it looked like there was something, and then the classic VAT bill comes,
Yeah,
up, just
yeah,
wipes you out.
Totally.
So it was cash flow, but we won this massive contract. Went to their big swanky London offices, got the whole ego boost of we're working for this household name, everybody knows them.
Yeah.
And we agreed terms, and it was 4 payments. And then as part of the journey that we were going down and scoping out, like the 4th part of it, we ended up going, well, we could build you something to self-manage that. And they were like, fantastic. So we built it, so it's completely self-managed. And then they basically said, oh, we're not going to pay the 4th payment because we don't need it. And it was like, okay. So then the lawyers and stuff were like, okay, so show me the contract. And it was like, oh no, you signed their contract. And then it was like the cash I was like, it was a very small business. It was like 75k that last installment. So it was just gone. Yeah. And I probably tried for 3 months to salvage it by taking on more debt. So I got the bank to give me a loan, and an increased overdraft to try and fund it. Yeah. But the biggest mistake I made in the whole thing, and I don't do it now, is I was still in delivery. So what happened was, not only did I employ all developers and we had like a project manager, I was still on the tools coding. So basically, I was still grafting. So what that actually meant is there's no pipeline. Yeah. So the bank, to be fair to them, gave me the loan to give me hope, but they shouldn't have really given me the loan because there's no pipeline.
Based the forecast.
Yeah, so it just delayed it. So trying to salvage it for 3 months didn't work. It went after 6. So I lived 6 months of like total uncertainty. Yeah. And I didn't tell my wife. Did you know? This was the worst thing I've ever done, is I didn't tell her.
Is that because you struggled to open up, or you struggled to talk? Or
I think I was so stupid. I had a belief that I could turn it round. I don't know if anyone's ever been in that situation.
Yeah, well, like people listening in now are thinking, well, he's had a business, it went really well. I had to send it to the walls. Most of them questions are probably, well, when do you know?
Yeah, I think.
Is that gut?
Yeah, it's a brilliant point. I think I probably knew 12 months before, but I ignored it. I suppressed it. Yeah. I think my gut was definitely telling me something is wrong here. Yeah. But you kind of like, you then like push it to one side in your head and you crack on with the meeting that you've got next and all this. So ignorance is bliss, isn't it? Yeah. So I ignored. Mm-hmm. If I went back to repeat it, I would. It sounds really stupid. I would happily make the same mistake again because of what I learned. The learning was huge. Yes. The pain I had to go through. Yeah. I've not been to many dark places, but that was fuck me. That was dark. Yeah. So like, I think it's.
So what was when that happened? What was the catalyst, I suppose, for you then to want to fucking do it again?
Well, I think
Was that like, because you could have easily at that point gone, you know what, I've tried this.
I'm shit at it.
I'm absolutely fucking crap at it.
Yeah. Cheers.
I'm gonna go and work for someone. Get a job. And just get paid every month. What made you think like, you know what, I'm not done with this?
Yeah, it was my family. So like, I just mentioned that I didn't tell my wife. So the reason I didn't tell my wife was, one was just pure embarrassment. 2 was denial, definitely denial that I could turn it around. And 3 was I didn't want to stress her out. I didn't want her with 2 young kids getting really, freaked out. We're going to lose the house.
And of course, yeah.
And obviously, as you probably know, in most businesses, when you have nothing and you want to secure lending, you get a PG. Yeah. So I knew the house was at risk. I knew everything I owned was at risk. Yeah. So it was the night before I had to sack everyone and turn it over to liquidators. Mm-hmm. And I couldn't sleep. And she was like, what's wrong? And then we sat up in bed and then I just told her everything. And it was like, that was like literally at 10 a.m. the next morning.
Was that not a relief though?
It was huge. It was huge. And this is where the turning point came, is we talked and we talked. And the only way I can describe it is utter support. Mm-hmm. Like for, okay, you've messed up. Yeah, you things, but what have you learned, sort of thing. So we slept on it. And then the next morning, it was all about just the next morning. I had to go into people that I genuinely cared about and their families and basically tell them that they ain't got a job anymore. Yeah. And it felt, to me, I'm a real people person. It felt like a firing squad. Yeah. They had no idea of it coming. The way that the process works is like surprise, and it was face to face. You know, like it was just horrible.
And I think,
and I never wanted to repeat that again in my life, if that makes sense.
yeah, absolutely. And you know, there's been times, you know, when we've been growing the business when, you know, there's been like close to the wire decisions, you know, especially when you start taking on contracts at £1 million,
Yeah,
and the impact that that can have from a cash flow perspective, and a scalability perspective. And sat there, and I remember the one time when me saying to Stacey, my wife, and saying like, this is going to be tough.
yeah,
And at the time, you know, house is on the line, and
yeah.
and she's like, one thing that you'll always have with me is I'll always back you.
Yeah,
And, you know, I'd sleep under a bridge with you if I had to.
yeah.
That's when you fucking know.
Yeah, that's a rock, isn't it?
That's when you know
yeah,
like,
yeah.
what you've got there.
Yeah.
And she has been my rock at every point,
Yeah.
you know, and that's kept me going.
Yeah.
And I never want to lose that. So that conversation you had with your wife when you sat in bed that night, knowing what you've got to do tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock,
Yeah.
and for her to then go back you 100%, that must have felt.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't sleep very easy, but
No,
yeah, it was.
It's going to be a shit day tomorrow, you know.
I think what she did, the next step she took, which I were ever grateful for, is she was like, "Well, do your parents know?" And I was like, "No." And so the next evening, I always use the word, she frog marched me round, but she didn't. She was just like, "You've got to do it. You've got to tell your mum and dad."
Yeah.
So we went to her parents. And my in-laws were there as well.
Okay.
And I basically had to stand up and say, well, not stand up, but like sit there.
Idiot.
Yeah, and go, you know, we started our business, next one was there, it's all gone.
And how long did that business last?
That was 2.5 years.
2.5
Yeah,
years.
yeah. So, but what was amazing was I went to her parents and we did this whole confession piece. And again, it was like, the only way I can describe it is nothing but love. Like they were like, do you know what? You know, you're a top guy. You don't want to hurt anyone. You're always kind. You're always gentle. You're always trying to do the best for yourself and your family. You just, you've failed. But it's like, I think someone said, it's only a failure if you don't learn anything.
Good.
And then they were like, in that conversation, they said, well, what have you learned? And then I was able to reel off like, you know, about 50 things I wouldn't do again, you know, the obvious stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
And then we went to my parents, they did the same thing. And then there's like a process with liquidation where the next 2 weeks was just taken up with like creditors meetings, like going to the whole, it was just horrendous. Like I did never have done it before. Attending the creditors meeting was probably, it was up there with sacking all, you just don't know who's going to turn up. And people were owed money and I fucked up and stuff.
Yeah.
So like,
you have to be there for about an hour.
Yeah.
You know, we were there with a pub and it was absolutely shit. You know, you're waiting for that clock to tick round whether someone wants to come in and give you a grilling.
Yeah, and it was just me as well. So like, it's just me. I'm doing everything on my own.
Yeah.
And then I thought in that 2 week period, there's something that's just come back to me. It's like, well, what can I do? And I thought, I'm going to go and see everyone I've fucked over who's worse off as a result of working with me. Okay. So I was traveling the country.
Was you?
And I literally spent about 2 weeks. I don't know if it was my in a kind of self, like trying to punish myself.
Yeah.
But literally I was going to face the music. So I remember driving up to Manchester to like another tech company we'd done some work for, and they paid us, but we'd failed to deliver because everything had gone. And he just said to me, he said, you're the fourth company who's gone insolvent on us this year. But he said, you're the first person in the history of this company who's ever come and sat with me. Yeah. And he said, I'd 100% work with you again. And he said, I would definitely do it on different terms.
Yeah, of course.
But he was like, I respect you for coming. He said, I'm pissed off. Mm-hmm. There's no doubt about that. You know, there's no two ways around it. I'm pissed off. But he said, I cannot fault you for coming to see me. And that was every meeting I went to. Yeah. And I even went to some meetings where I was like, it was clients.
Love that.
So clients lost our ability to deliver for them. And I had one who went, why don't you just tell us? We'd have given you an advance and a cash. And I was like, no, there's bigger problems than that. That would have been a sticky plaster. Yeah. But yeah, going back to like what I decided to do is, because of the love I got from my family and the support, we had the classic three options, like, you know, do you go and get a proper job?
Yeah.
Do you go and start again? And if so, do you start with the same number of people, or do you start just you? That sort of thing. Like, do you go back to being just you, or do you start with a team?
Yeah.
And I started to start with a small team, and that's what this company is today.
Okay.
So we were born out of the ashes of that massive failure. And then one of the biggest steps we ever did is like, I cannot be on the tools from day one. I can't be on the tools.
How did the team take it that morning that you turned up at 10 a.m. to deliver that news?
I think
How was that?
Yeah, I think, you know, I think as a business owner, you want a bit of sympathy, but you ain't going to get it, are you?
No.
Yeah, at the end of the day, they've got mouths to feed,
Yeah,
they've got lives and stuff. So I'd say it was a bit of anger.
Did you stand up? Did you?
Oh, yeah, I was just stood in front of them like this,
You know, and said,
I just said, this has happened, unfortunately, you know.
Did you own that shit?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's my fault.
Yeah, no, totally. And I've always tried to instill into the people that work for us, as well as my kids.
Yeah.
Just own your own shit. And
Yeah.
I hate these people that like it's somebody else's fault. No.
Yeah.
If it's your shit to own, fucking
Yeah.
stand up and be counted for
Exactly.
it. Because what can somebody say to that? Client rings me ranting and raving, and I go, yeah, well, we fucked that up.
Yeah.
What can he say?
Yeah.
What you can do about it, Charles? Well, that we're doing this, and this. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not going, fucking don't shout at me, fuck off. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
like that.
But that's true ownership, isn't it? It's true accountability and true.
Yeah.
It's just like, you know, I think everything anyone decides to do, you know, I can't remember the formula, but, you know, leads to an action, leads to a decision or whatever.
Yeah.
Decision leads to an action.
Yeah.
And you've got to be responsible. So, the reason I was stood in the room at 10 a.m. in front of 10 staff telling them they ain't got a job and knowing their wives, their kids, you know, like these aren't strangers. These are people who've come to work with me every single day.
Yeah.
And saying, you know, this is what's happened. I've fucked. And it was literally, I've fucked up. Like, we've got no money. We've had to close the business. Liquidators have been informed. This is the process. That was, I think telling my wife was the hardest thing I've ever done. Because that was like a flood opening.
Yeah.
And then the next thing was telling the team. But then it's kind of like you said, you realise, well, actually, you're the sole business owner. It's the sole
Responsibility sits with you.
Responsibility, 100%. I'm responsible every day and my wife reminds me of this now is like, you know, you're not responsible for just our family, you're responsible for the families of the people who've worked with me and stuff, like as in now.
Yeah.
So that bears on my mind as well in decisions that I take and what I try and do. But I think all of those things, there's so much from like every department of a business, from finance to sales to everything else, that we've just changed everything.
Yeah.
So what I've always said to people is on the tin, we look like the same company with a different name. You know, what did you do in the old company? Bespoke software development with the majority of people employed developers. What do you do in this company? Bespoke software development with the majority of people developers. Yeah. But the operational is just totally advanced compared to that.
How many people did you keep out of 10?
4.
4.
Yeah.
6 went.
6. Well, so everyone goes, and then I hired 4. Yeah.
You hired 4.
Yeah, I think it's 2 is it? You brought across.
And them 4 still with you?
One of them is
1.
Yeah.
So what happened to the 3? Was it the cultural change? What I'm trying to get at there.
Oh no, they won't mind me saying money.
Okay.
Better offers.
Fair. Okay.
So so one of the things that we always did is we always took people on like a junior mid-level and then really escalated them to kind of senior stuff. And then I'm still in touch with everyone. Yeah. I know where I sit in the ecosystem. Yeah. And the tech stack that we use. People leaving double, triple their salary. Okay. They're getting offers, and again because we're remote, their marketplace is bigger. So 2 of the people who left work for a company in Texas, I think, or at least in the US. Okay. And they're one of these like remote companies where they have like global retreats and they all meet up and stuff. So everyone who's ever left me, other than me doing the dismissal, has gone on to I'd say like a different level of income.
Fair. Yeah.
So a lot of people leave for money.
They made that choice to move on. Yeah. So it wasn't the changes that you made.
No, I've never lost it. I mean, the thing that makes the decision difficult for most people to leave is just the balance, like the work-life balance. It's like they know that in exchange for that higher wage, if they go and work for a VC-backed startup, they're going to get their pound of flesh. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? As a developer, you're a commodity, aren't you? You just... So it's wicked. So money.
So you brushed over my comment of the influence that you said you wouldn't name the influence.
Yeah.
But like, who is that now? Who
who's an
who
influencer
inspires
now?
you?
Oh, okay.
Who inspires you to do what you do?
That's a really good question. Wow. I'm a bit of a sponge, as in like I like all the great kind of current business leaders and stuff.
Okay.
You know, all the thought leaders out there. In terms of inspires, I think there's definitely a person that I know who he actually was an ex-business partner, and I think he inspires me because he thinks so differently.
Okay.
So like if you imagine like my story is one of technician turned business owner,
Yeah.
I'm no different from the hairdresser who opens a salon. That's all I've done.
Totally.
There's a guy I met along my journey, and he was when I started the first business, what I got into quite quickly was networking.
Right.
And I think he was genuinely one of the first people I ever met because he was so like outgoing and you know, but he fills the room.
Yeah.
And anyway, his story is he's an investor mindset, which is totally the opposite to me. So like I spend a lot of time trying to figure out how he thinks. So for instance, he invests in multiple businesses.
Yeah.
And in each business there's a technician. So he partners with them from a strategic commercial bias.
Yeah.
And then he helps them scale. And at any time he'll have like 20 businesses. So I think he inspires me because my head goes, I can't run one.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's that level of you meet people along the way who are genuinely
that's inspiring.
Genuinely like they operate at a different level.
Yeah.
And you're just thinking, oh my days, how and in like what's weird is his day, it sounds cliched, but like he doesn't appear to be as busy as anyone else who's in the in your weeds, like in the weeds as they call it.
Yeah.
He spends pretty much all of his time connecting people. He's a hearts and minds person. He goes out and he'll meet anyone and he has a chat with them and he gives them the times of day. Like you said, eyeball to eyeball.
Yeah.
And what he's constantly doing is kind of finding the nuggets of gold in different relationships, and he connects people.
Yeah.
No, I reckon the most he does on a daily basis is introduce people. And that's not disrespectful to him. I just mean that's at the level he operates.
Yeah.
And then
As
a result of
he's just unreal.
And as a result of that,
Yeah.
he's probably the most affluent person I know.
Does
that make sense?
Yeah. Because them type of people, they're the ones that have put themselves in the right rooms.
Yeah.
You know.
And in his story, he's had insolvency. In his story, he's lost everything. In his story, he had a business. He worked in 3 years with a business partner in the weeds and got shafted.
Yeah.
And it's like, so you didn't just, one day wake up and go, I'm going to be an investor. He did all the graft and everything along there. But he got to a point where he's like, I've got to do it another way, which goes back to that thing.
And do you think that was your like aha moment? That like for you when you were growing gorilla now, is that something that is, because you mentioned at the start it was like this is a lifestyle business?
Yeah, I think
and I'm like, well, what are you doing here? Is it just like
on this podcast?
Or are you going to go to the fucking what is that? Because I'd like for people to understand the difference.
I think what people like that teach me is business is a vehicle.
Yeah.
It's literally a vehicle. And I think for my entrepreneurial journey, I mean, I really have a dislike of the word entrepreneur. It's like
because you don't believe you're one, or
no,
is that a self-confidence thing?
It's a completely an internal monologue, isn't it? Yeah, I'm a fraud sort of thing. But I think.
And do you believe that?
At times, 100%. Yeah.
Is that because we're business owners that are finding our feet, that are really trying to...
I think, well, it just seems like every Jack and Harry is calling themselves an entrepreneur on TikTok and social media, and I don't want to be associated with them. When they haven't done anything.
Just absorbing too much shit.
Well, I avoid social media like the plague.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's going off course a little bit. There's you said what inspires me.
Yeah.
There's a company called 38. I'm gonna get this wrong. 37 Signals.
Okay.
Right? They were probably the thing going back to the start. So they're two guys who I think they're in Seattle, and they were literally like a web shop. But they wrote a book called Rework, And early on, I read Rework, and it changed my entire life. Definitely that book did.
Did it?
It was insane. And it's the entrepreneur comment. They hate the word entrepreneur. That's probably where I've got it from.
Yeah.
But they prefer starter. You know, somebody who starts something, somebody who takes action, and this sort of thing. But their book is like, they pick a fight with everything, and I quite like that. I quite like that idea of I'm going to pick a fight. So they I don't want to say advocate drug dealers, but they give an analogy of like a drug dealer gives away it for free first to get people hooked. Yeah. And they're kind of using that as a business lesson. Like one of the chapters is called like act like a drug dealer. As in, you should give people free samples of your products. Yeah. But yeah, they've got a way of wording.
A way of putting that together.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So they're quite opinionated. They draw a lot of criticism, but one of their things is you should always pick a fight. They're like, in any fight, people will pick a side.
Yeah.
And like, so you should have a strong opinion about anything.
I encourage healthy conflicts.
Yeah, exactly.
Healthy
That's
conflict's
exactly it.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, so there's loads of stuff like that. And I think it's a real, even though they would never use the word like punk rock ethos, I think it is that little bit of like grit between the two.
Yeah, 100%.
So 37 Signals went on to write, DHH, one of the guys, he went on to write the framework that we use. So we're massive advocates of a thing called Ruby on Rails. And that's what he developed. So it all comes like full circle. That's how I found out the Rework book. But again, they wrote a book, before anyone else was even thinking of it, called Remote. Right. And it was how you scale a global business. Because that's how they did it with 37 Signals, is they employed locally in Seattle. Yeah. And then they got remote. And then they were probably one of the first companies to have like 30 people across all different time zones.
They smashed it.
Yeah.
Good for them.
Yeah.
So what's your initial vision now, for the company?
It all comes down to like my personal like lifestyle balance again. So
do you believe in lifestyle? Do you believe in that?
In what
work-life balance?
Yeah, 100%.
Do you?
Yeah. Do you not?
Fucking bollocks.
Do you?
I fucking do.
In what way?
I know. I'm a workaholic.
Okay.
So like I just fucking love it.
Yeah.
And I've got a philosophy of no fucker outworks me.
So you've got the cape on at all times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like I'm just at it.
Yeah.
And if I'm not at it, at 5:30 in the morning, I'm itchy.
So you're like, yeah.
Yeah.
Me and you are polar opposite.
That's a good thing.
If I'm awake at 5:30, I'm angry because I should be asleep.
So like my work life, I just don't. I think if you want to build something, phenomenal.
Yeah.
It's gotta be relentless.
And I think that's where we differ then, because I don't.
You don't want to build something that.
No. I'm at a totally different trajectory.
And so like, how do you make sure that the team are in on that? Do you because so like if I'm recruiting for your business now and I know that news, right, that you've just said, I'm gonna sit there with that person and I'm gonna actively think about how they're gonna come into our business.
Yeah.
But I've got to be open with them and tell them that we are growing. Yeah. But we're growing at a really steady pace. Yeah. We're not looking to take on the world, etc., etc. Where I interviewed somebody recently for a role, and I gave him the hardest time possible. That like I actively said to him, like, if you're gonna fucking join, I want your soul. Yeah. Yeah. Like, I don't give a fuck what's going on out there. I want your soul. Yeah. Do you understand? Yeah. And when he left, I phoned the recruiter and I was like, you got fucking no chance of him coming back. Yeah. But he did. He did. But the thing, what I'm getting at is, like, I want the Falcon team to know that we are growing, that we are actively looking to take on get to the stars, but do it sustainably. Yeah, right? Well, that's really. We've done the rocket shit, and it's hard. That is really tough. But sustainable growth, month on month, getting quarter on quarter, year on year, to know that they've got progression. How do you instill that if you are a lifestyle business? Is it making sure they get 3% every year? What?
Yeah, no, I think it's I've probably misconstrued it. We still have goals and we still have growth, but what I mean is mine's never been become £100 million business. Mine's never been achieve this EBITDA. Mine's never been even exit at this moment in time.
Yeah.
I probably should think more like that. And one of the things I constantly go through is almost like, what's wrong with me? Because everyone else I surround myself with is exactly on that shoot for the stars. You know, you've got to have a North Star and you've got to be aiming for it. I think I motivate people and lead people in a different way, as in like, we're almost like a thing of less is more. So what we do is we're really selective about who we work with. But once we get them in, we partner with them over the long term.
Yeah.
So our growth plans are based on attracting the right people at a small number.
That's good.
So we only work with like 10 clients a year. That's it. So any other business would be going, how'd you get from 10 to 100
20,
clients?
Yeah.
And I'm like, that involves more people.
Yeah.
I don't want more people. What I want the growth and the profit, and I want the business to be a vehicle. But also I know that I only need it to turn over X, and I contain my sanity.
Yeah.
I have time. And I have energy.
Yeah.
So it's almost like, and it's probably something in my psyche, it's a bit wrong, but like on the trajectory that I see most business owners go on, I also see a ticking time bomb to burnout because they're so full on and they're so relentless.
Yeah, 100%.
And that's just never been my personality. You know, when I said I went to uni because I'm lazy, I run my business as a lazy individual. I am literally like,
but they're the cleverest people, aren't
what's
they?
the least I can do today?
Yeah.
Not many people think that.
No.
What's the least I can do today to kind of make a 1% increment in my business? And that's where that always thinking of, is there another way of doing this?
Was it Bill Gates? Didn't he say shit like that? Wasn't he like, you know, I'd always employ the laziest person because they'd always find the quickest way to
possibly,
do it? Yeah.
I was with someone the other day and they were moaning that one of their team members had used AI to reduce their time down to 20%. And I was like, you should be rewarding that. You should be encouraging that and going, how can every other employee in the team reduce their job by 20%? And then give them more work to do. And they're like, instead they're like, it's wrong. You shouldn't be doing that. And it's like, I think, you know, I've over exaggerated how lazy I am. I'm not lazy. Everyone else will go, Paul, I don't know what you're talking about. You're not lazy. But in my head, my view of the world is, and like, you know, I know Elliot. So the way I know Elliot is from being in a room with people who are on growth trajectories with targets and everything else. And I sit there as an imposter going, I know I need more to hit certain goals. And when I talk about goals, my goals are travel. My goals are family. My goals are...
They're not financial.
No. Well, there's a financial vehicle.
Yeah.
But
they're not like, I need to get 10 million quid in the bank.
Not at all. Not at all. Yeah. If that makes sense.
No, it does.
And that's why I'm not up at 5:30 and being motivated like that, because it's just not in my DNA.
But that's
I've tried it so many times. I've tried to be a morning person and I'm not.
But it's good for the listeners because like, they're looking in going, well, Charles a fucking maniac, workaholic, worked all day every
You
night.
remind me of Andy Frisella. You did. Do you know Andy Frisella?
I don't know.
Oh, yeah. You need to look him up. Mental toughness.
Is it?
Yeah.
But that is me in a fucking
nutshell.
He is.
You know,
I'm like fucking bulletproof.
Yeah.
You know, and that has to, and that's the only way that I function.
Yeah.
I don't know your way.
Yeah.
Because that's just not how
I'm
built.
It's exactly the same, yeah.
I wish sometimes I was.
Yeah.
I wish sometimes I could have, you know, Saturday morning, get up. But it's 5:30.
Yeah.
What am I going to do?
Yeah. See, that's your superpower.
I want to just go to work.
Yeah. But that's your superpower, isn't it? Because, like, I've been spending a lot of time working out. Because I sit there, total blank, going, what, you know, like you said in the email, you know, what's your purpose, what's your why?
Yeah.
I was like, this is going to be the worst episode because it's like, this guy's got no purpose, no why. He keeps saying he's lazy. It's like, no,
I fucking love it.
Cut him off. But it's like, I'm just wired differently, I think.
Yeah, I think he's really, really good.
Yeah. I've read all the books on mental toughness and I've read all the books on getting up in the morning and everything else.
Yeah.
And I just, I think I'm just different. But then, like, I did a thing years ago with a coach where he, like, have you ever done, like, Myers-Briggs? Where they give you a personality profile. They give you 4 letters.
Right, okay.
But honestly, I've done DISC and everything else. But these 4 letters, it then gives you, like, a report. And it says, like, you know, this is what kind of, like, you excel at. This is what you do. Like, it energizes you and demotivates you. And this is what you do when you get stressed.
Yeah.
And it was like literally holding up a mirror. It was
Honestly.
unbelievable. And then I suddenly learned that like my superpowers are, I really enjoy thinking about like the future and innovation and connecting people. Those are like my 3 things. So then my day becomes, how can I do more of that? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's like what I really need to be doing is spending all my time on the stuff that energizes me, and then getting people in the team or however in AI to do the things that don't energize me but energize them, because people always get energized, but we're all different people, aren't we?
Totally. And I, you know, and I've got like 4 things that I, you know, really work to, which is like health, wealth, peace, and happiness.
Yeah.
Those 4 things are everything that hold me together as an individual.
Yeah.
So my health has to come first before anything else, because if I don't function well, nothing else works very well. I need wealth because I need to make sure that like I can keep the wall from the door and food on the table every day.
Yeah.
You know, but I also want to be happy, and I want to be at peace with the decisions that I make.
Yeah.
And so I have to connect with that in some way. And some people would go, it's a bit woo woo, but like for me, like if I don't meditate in the morning and meditate on a night, like I need to touch that.
Yeah. But the thing that you've just described is absolute clarity. Most people don't have clarity over what drives them. I mean, I know it's a derogatory term, but I've got clarity that I'm lazy and I will look for the easiest option out. And that's what I've always done.
Okay.
And it's kind of like I've accepted that.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know?
It hasn't done you bad, has it? It hasn't done you bad. So you can't come on the podcast
Let's say good.
and not talk about like what you really give a shit about.
Yeah.
You know, like what is that? What?
I think I give a shit. I mean, it's the cliche stuff. I give a shit about my family massively, huge. Like I give a shit about, and I'm not at times, but I give a shit about being like a role model to my kids. My kids are going down the route. My son's doing GCSEs. My daughter's going to uni.
Yeah.
And I just want them to know that like you can kind of create an idea and you can take action. So they're going down the kind of employed route, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And it's absolutely, you know, I've got no problem with that. But I want them to always hold that belief that even in, you know, a job or whatever, you can in your mind create something and then you can execute it. That my biggest thing is to be a role model to my kids. I'm not bothered about being a role model to anyone else.
Yeah.
But I want them to grow up knowing that, and also that you can change your trajectory at any point in time. Okay, I was only late 20s, I wasn't whatever, but like I've always joked that one day I'm going to own a florist or a similar business because I know nothing about it.
Yeah.
One of the dangers I have is I know too much about tech, so I'm always in there. Whereas having a business where you know the business model and how a business is a vehicle, going back to the investor thing, but you know nothing about how it produces its thing, is heaven to me. Because then you focus on the real strategic constraints and you focus on all that. So I think I've learned to be a bit more of a strategist and stuff. But yeah, I think the give a shit is I give a shit about people massively, especially people. But like it's everything. Like, and I give a shit about working with the right people. So we sack clients. So we've sacked a number of clients 100%. Over the years because I give a shit about my team. Yeah. I give a shit about their mental health.
Fucking
and I give a shit about the fact that you're not a good client for us. Yeah. But there's someone out there who would be an amazing
you suit really well.
And you'll and it's not us. So I think it's just things like it's all. I've always classed myself as a humanist in the fact that I genuinely believe that there's genuine good in everybody and that some people just need conversations and stuff to get it out of them, see it themselves. They don't see it themselves about how amazing they are. And so, I'll always put people over everything. And I think in the world of AI and stuff, I lose my way on a daily basis. Yeah. Because I look at all the negative in terms of the impact on jobs and stuff and humanity. But then it's like you've always got to go back to kind of, well, actually, that's about giving a shit, really, isn't it? It's about caring about what the future looks like. Yeah. The pace of change is relentless.
And I mean, while we're on that AI thing, you know, there's lots of obviously conversations around AI at the moment and different businesses that are using it, some that are staying away from it. some that seem to be living in it, you know, and you get an email most days that I can pretty much tell has been written by, you know, some type of AI bot.
Yeah, M dashes and emojis,
And so what is the impact on you?
Oh,
your company?
Yeah. So it's I've become again a few phrases I repeat on the daily. AI is like the best of opportunity, and it's the absolute worst. It's decimated my industry beyond belief. Yeah, massively beyond belief. But then you have to reset and go, okay, it's time to pivot. So we've done a few things. So one is we're fully on the, you know, the AI gravy train. Like we adopt it across all our processes. Pandora's box is well and truly open. It was 3 years ago. So it's in every part of our processes, but it's in our delivery now in terms of we're going out as a automation agency, but focused on compliance work. But yeah, there's not an industry that's not going to be decimated by it, even if it hasn't appeared to be so today. But then I'm encouraged by the fact that what it's done is, and this is totally ad-libbing, the CEO of Fiverr, who put it brilliantly. He was like, the stuff that's impossible today will become the new hard, and the stuff that's easy is gone. So anything that was easy, just forget it. That's not a solution now. Which is like, okay, we sit in software. If you're a web designer now, your job can be replaced by, you know, AI, but you could still exist because you can do the incredibly complex web design work that it can't do. And that's where we sit. Is we're looking at how can we upskill to do, using these tools, the really, really complex work that was once impossible. So I just think there's a kind of a trajectory, but it is going to impact everything.
Because what do you think of, like, you know, like companies like Replit and stuff like that, you know, that are constant, you know, that are coming in, that people are able to build their own.
Well, this is the thing, right? So Replit is an amazing example, right? So I spoke the other day about, you know, 3 years ago, if somebody wanted to build like a little internal tool to improve their system, right? Their only option was to go to a developer, genuinely.
Yeah.
So you would either employ the developer, you would either go and get a freelancer, or you would find an agency like ourselves.
Yeah.
That was their bread and butter. So where for the last 11 years, we never had it so easy. So we worked with companies who wanted internal portals, internal tools, and they needed a resource for a project. That was us. And that's where I made the majority of my money. That's gone. And it's rightfully gone because Replit exists and you can do it. Where there's a gap is Replit has some downsides and there's some scalability issues right now. Okay. So there's an opportunity as well. So there's an opportunity for us to sit outside of Replit but above it and know everything we should know about it to know its limitations, to then be there when somebody wants to scale something.
Yeah.
But Lovable and Bubble and that have all been around for years, but Replit is, I say it's phenomenal.
I think it's been brilliant. I mean, like,
yeah. I've massively encouraged it. I mean, I'm a software developer, and it's basically took probably 80% of our revenue. And I'm saying to everyone, fucking don't talk to me. Use Replit. Yeah. Go and spend 20 hours and $200.
That's what I've done.
And you'll get exactly what's in your mind's eye.
Yeah.
And you haven't had to communicate with an external person to say, no, I meant that.
Just the basics. Most of our stuff is Dynamics.
Yeah.
But like, I built this. All I wanted was a basic KPI app, which just captured some data. And that's paying $30 a month.
Yeah.
And it's cost me about $200 in total.
Yeah.
But do this, do that, take this.
And it's not, you're a total non-developer. That's the beauty of it.
And I published it yesterday.
Yeah.
And it's fucking brilliant.
Yeah.
You know, and
that's the story of everybody who's using it. I've not heard one person have a negative opinion.
But 2 years ago, that app costed me 15 grand to build.
Yeah.
You know, and now I've done it for $200.
I went to a conference the other day and they promoted from stage Replit, and after the conference they posted loads of Facebook quotes and just everybody just went away and implemented. And there was one guy who said on stage that they're like a £10 million business. They were working on an internal process tool, and they'd gone to an agency and they were quoted 6 months and 160 grand, and they built it in 20 hours and $200.
They did.
And the thing that is Replit is amazing, and this is why everyone should use it. And as a software developer saying use it, is its speed.
Yeah.
Forget the price. It is genuinely 3 to 6 months to build out these systems, and people are building them in a weekend.
So your business model then, does that change where you become like a bit of a... I suppose for me, there was times when I struggled with it, when I needed to...
Yeah.
It was talking to me about like SQL, and I needed to do something.
Yeah.
And I was a bit like, fucking hell, you know, like, but I got there.
Yeah.
But it would have been so much easier for me to have somebody to communicate with.
Yeah.
Like, and like, so say,
think-
is there a gap there for that?
That's where I think it is. We had somebody on their podcast who was talking about vibe coding and what it's going to create is like, you know, you imagine what you've created so far is like you've opened Pandora's box again, and then you think of all the different things you can create.
Yeah.
So you're going to end up with like 100 applications in Replit running all different stuff.
Yeah.
And you're going to hit challenges in different projects.
I've already seen that.
Yeah. So then it's a case of at what point does it become one unified piece of software?
Yeah.
At what point do you need external support?
Yeah.
So what we've noticed in our industry is we're becoming consultants.
Yeah.
We're moving more towards somebody's now got a tool.
I think that's awesome.
The doing's gone.
Yeah.
So if we say that the development is disappearing,
Yeah.
then it's okay. You still need an expert in a domain to ask the right questions to get the answer that you need. So we the last 3 clients we've picked up have all been consultancy jobs.
And I think that is definitely like people looking in, you know, like that they need to hear that.
Yeah.
You know, that it's not the end.
No, it's just why would you do the do when something can write it?
Correct. You know, let's not all, you know, play woe is me here.
Yeah.
You know, there's something else there that will help us.
Yeah.
that-
I think everyone's going to have to pivot. I think the doing is largely done. AI will take care of the doing. My wife and children massively disagree. Huge fight over the weekend.
Honestly.
in a bar talking about that. But I'm like, if you accept that the doing is done, then you have to reposition yourself and, well, where do I sit?
I know.
And it's your expertise. And you could put 2 people in front of AI, the same AI model, and get very different answers because it's all about the input. So the expert in any domain puts in the input to help the client with the output. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
To get the best result.
Absolutely. And I think for me, just using it, I just just playing with it. And I've now built 2 applications on it.
Yeah.
I'm now at a point now where I'm thinking, how is this going to integrate long term?
Yeah.
How does it integrate with Dynamics? How do we start it,
Yeah.
like to start doing some reporting and that sort of
Yeah.
stuff? And that's where I'm going to need help.
Yeah.
That's where I can't just tell it what to do because it's got to connect to the back
yeah,
end somewhere.
yeah.
I need help with that.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
So we've picked up a conversation at the moment in the rail industry where they're using equivalent of Replit to build out a compliance piece of software. So our niche is compliance. We help companies with compliance. And it's amazing. I've seen the demo, I've seen everything, but it's exactly what you just described. The downside is they need it to connect to a back end piece of software that's archaic and it doesn't even have API.
Yeah.
And then that's where we come in.
Yeah.
So we'll go from building out these big systems to coming in and being like the specialist in an area and going, okay, you've done all that in Replit. You've got it to 80% of your requirements.
Yeah.
You'll need somebody, internal or external, to come in and do the final 20%. The final 20% might cost 10 times what it cost in Replit, but you get the result. Does that make sense?
And that's where I think like business owners like myself that would need that integration to be smooth and to be seamless. Would I pay for that 2 or 3 days work to make sure that it was done right on a consultancy level?
Yeah.
Fucking 100%. Because I know that the work's already been done, the work's already been churned out, but it's that compliance side and that governance bit, just making sure that ties up right and the security's there and all.
I was going to say, security is a massive
it's
thing.
huge.
Like, people don't understand what goes on a daily basis on any piece of software that's live right now.
Yeah.
The amount of penetration testing, the amount of security updates that goes into the health of it.
Yeah.
Forget functionality. Whereas what everyone's doing in Replit is they're building out all these tools and it's 100% functionality, isn't it? Your focus is, I need you to do A, B, C, and it's done. Once it's live, there's like a whole thing that you really need to do to protect yourselves. And I think that's the niche again for us is to almost learn as much as we can about Replit and Lovable and all the others, and then position ourselves as that segue into the bigger stuff.
Love it.
And I think if in our industry, push Replit to one side, I think they're making a huge mistake. And it's like in anything, you talk about some businesses aren't adopting AI for fear.
Yeah.
I don't know where they're going to be in. I mean, do you think about what we've what we've seen AI progress
Yeah.
in the last 3 years, that really chat came out. I mean, AI existed for 30 years before that.
Yeah.
But since the dawn of chat, when it went public in November 22, to where we sit today, when it couldn't do hands,
Long way, innit? It's a long
to
way,
now.
innit? It's a
Well,
long
if you
way.
think the next 3 years
Yeah.
is going to probably go at 10 times the speed,
Yeah.
the thing that I struggle with on the daily is how relentless it is.
Can you afford not to be involved with it
In
as a
AI,
business?
no way, no freaking way. I
can't,
might
can
as well close the doors.
Agreed.
And just go.
Yeah.
I'll go travelling.
Yeah, yeah.
just,
I totally
I
agree.
don't think you can.
I totally agree.
Well, you can, but I don't think you'll be around for much longer, because I mean, there's a big thing we had a chat with over the kids at the weekend, and my daughter I liked it. It was that humanist thing, but
Yeah.
I was going. There was a thing released, I think it was in the Times or something, about the 40 most jobs at risk. We were just getting down the list. And she was like, no, you'd always want a human to do that. I was like, yeah, but what happens when the day comes and you can't tell it's not a human? That's where it all changes. And that's not far away. 3 to 6 months, I honestly believe that most of the customer service you speak to will be AI. And you'll accept it because you don't want to speak to a human being. You just want the answer.
Yeah, I know somebody that's had 16 in customer service.
Yeah.
Now gone down to 3.
There you go.
All built on the back.
And they just handle the exceptions. So, like, there's no reason why the first triage of any customer services shouldn't be a voice AI or chat.
Exactly how she's done it.
And then people want, more than anything, convenience. Yeah. My daughter's generation don't want to speak to a human being on the phone. They fear the phone. They want to use WhatsApp. They want to They want to use, whatever.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think there's certain industries that at the moment employ a lot of people. They're going to get decimated. And the few that remain will be, again, experts in that thing. They'll be able to handle the exceptions where it's needed. But I think it's naive to look at it and go, it's a .com boom, which keeps getting bandied around. It's not.
No,
it's nothing like that.
It's not. So, for the bit of
I feel depressed now. Going back to my
bit of a lightning round, quick fire
go on.
questions. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you've answered this one. What's one book or podcast that you have had that's had profound impact on your life?
Yeah, I think Rework. It still stands up today.
Yeah.
It's by the company 37 Signals. I'm going to be really rude. Jason somebody and David somebody. I forgot their names, but yeah, it's called Rework, and it's as true today.
Yeah,
it is. It stands the test of time.
Okay,
and it's one page a chapter.
I'm going to try and give that a go.
One page a chapter, which is what I like because I'm lazy.
Awesome. What's one piece of advice that you would give to your younger self?
Trust your gut. I think you reminded me of that. I think feelings play a massive part in decision making.
Yeah,
and I think any time I've ever suppressed a feeling of a fear or anxiety, I can go back to that moment. I can even sense that feeling. Do you know what I mean? So I think you're really good to raise that. Yeah,
it's really good. What's one thing that you're actively trying to improve about yourself?
Glad it's visual. I think you said it there. You said everything starts with your health, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
And I've definitely neglected mine. I've probably even punished it. I've just started. I mean, I mentioned Andy Frisella.
Yeah.
I've just started looking at his stuff.
Okay.
And it's very much along that lines. Yeah. So the health.
Okay. Health.
I've got a gym membership.
But you still
don't go. So, yeah.
You're the best customer.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
What's the one thing that you wish people gave more a shit about?
Each other. I think listening to each other's opinions and not jumping all over them.
Yeah.
I think you said healthy conversation.
Yeah, I love it.
I've had too many conversations with people recently where you're just trying to express an opinion, not in an aggressive way.
No.
And it's shot down before you can open your mouth. And it's like, when do we lose the ability to debate? Because I think through those conversations, you end up with something in the middle that's like the innovation. Yep. It's the thing, because you both see different sides.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Love it.
The person listening will know who I'm talking to. Because it's like, where are you coming from?
What's one thing that you're most grateful for?
And being alive, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, you could have all the money in the world and be dead. What's the fucking point?
Totally agree.
So, like, I think every day is a gift. It's cliched again, but like, yeah, you get to breathe, you get to be alive, and then you get to through that. You
Because
get to
tomorrow
make
isn't promised,
decisions.
is it?
Yeah,
Tomorrow isn't
exactly.
promised.
Yeah, and you know, you lose people along the way, and they inspire you on, don't they? Really.
Totally agree.
So I think, yeah.
And what's your definition of success?
To me, it's contentment, isn't it? It's like, it's not a financial number. It's where you feel fulfilled. Like you talked about gratitude. To me, I think my wife is amazing at this. I will always look at what's missing in my life. I will always look at what I'm trying to get to next. You know, I've said lazy a lot, but I have got dreams and I've got goals.
Of course.
And she will remind me of all the things that we've achieved. So I think success is probably looking back on your achievements.
Yeah.
Genuinely, it's never been about a bank balance for me.
No.
It's about spending the time with the people I want to spend it with. That includes team and family.
Yeah.
Where I want to spend it, which is a remote aspect, and when.
Yeah.
Like, I should be able to choose. It's choice. Success is the freedom to choose.
Totally agree. Totally agree. And I have to say that the conversation, you know, before this, we met at the doorway.
Yes, yeah,
We met at the doorway,
yeah.
and I've really enjoyed the conversation.
Yeah,
I've
thank
really
you. I have,
enjoyed
yeah.
you coming in and openly talking about your business, and hopefully get you on in another year's time and bring your fucking guitar. But thank you for coming.
Yeah,
in.
no, pleasure, absolute pleasure.
Is there anything you want to share before that you go? Is there any, you know, business, any type of links, website, etc., etc.?
No, I think the only thing that springs to mind is just we've got a podcast, so
Yeah.
we can plug that.
Yeah, definitely.
It's called Control Alt Dev.
Okay.
So we talk about AI,
Also,
and tech, and its impact and its positivity.
Yeah.
And I co-host that with a guy called Sean.
okay.
So yeah,
Get on there.
Yeah,
Get on
that's
there.
it. Plug
Absolutely.
over.
Brilliant. Well, thanks ever so much for coming on. Been a great guest.
Yeah, no, amazing. Thank you.
No problem.
Cheers.
Thank you.